I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Mark Chalmers, President and CEO of Energy Fuels. Thank you so much for being here today in person with me at PDAC, bright and early.
Yeah, no, look, it's always exciting to come to PDAC, particularly in the summertime.
In the summer, yes, yeah. It's a really nice change. And so we have a lot to talk about in the uranium sector today. We're going to get right onto it. Big news last week was $4.3 billion plan from the Biden administration looking at buying enriched uranium from American producers. I want to ask what your reaction was when you heard that news.
Well, I think it's a realization from the United States of America and other allied countries around the world that we become overly dependent on people like Russia and China. So, all this unfortunate experience that we're seeing in Ukraine is really igniting sort of a new awareness that globalization has a cost.
And can you give me a sense of what the uranium enrichment landscape looks like in the U.S.? Because I think a lot of people wouldn't be familiar.
Yeah, enrichment is a bit of a problem because we don't have enrichment in the United States. Well, we do with Urenco. It's foreign owned. So we really have to put the nuclear fuel cycle back together in the United States. It was a national priority for decades, and then for the last 3 or 4 decades, it has not been a national priority, where it has been in Russia and China. So, there's a number of steps starting from the mining of uranium in the United States, the conversion, which has been shut down for a number of years and is going to restart, I believe, next year. And moving forward with more enrichment in the United States, including enrichment up to HALEU, which is the 20% 235. So there's a lot of work to do to catch up because it's been a big hiatus, and it's unfortunate, but I'm glad to see the realization that we need our own capabilities in the United States.
For sure. And so tell me how this ties in with previous government efforts in the U.S. related to uranium. We had the Section 232 investigation a couple of years back. Energy Fuels was very involved with that.
Yeah, most of those initial efforts were spearheaded by Energy Fuels with UR Energy. So, I think, and again, I don't want to point fingers or say we told you so, but, for the last 4 or 5 years, our company, Energy Fuels, and the industry as a whole, has been sending off alarm bells that this type of thing could happen. Now, unfortunately, it's worse than we even expected. And I think it's just people are understanding that we become overly dependent around the world on these countries, and they become addicted to the cheapest products that they can get. And it's not just uranium or vanadium or rare earth elements. It's a lot of things, addicted to cheap. And so it's going to take time to unwind that, to deglobalize to a certain extent. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all rolls out. But it isn't going to happen in a year or two. It's going to take decades to get back into equilibrium.
Yeah, and I wondered if you could give us your take on the uranium sector as a whole right now. I think that people have been excited to see it come to life over the last 6 months to a year, but it's still far from reaching its full potential.
Yeah, well, I think the focus on decarbonization and baseload energy in nuclear energy is clean baseload energy. When you look at the whole focus also on electrification, where is that electricity going to come from? I think, when you look at the significant momentum of the small modular micro reactors and the support to keeping reactors open, some of the older, larger reactors, I think it's a new paradigm going forward. Now, we had a bit of that back in 2006, 7, 8 when we had the run-up. But now, I think the fundamentals are better than they have ever been because people are focused on reducing emissions. And so, yeah, it's pretty complex, but it's happening for the right reasons.
Yeah, and a lot of the time when I talk to people about the uranium market, they will tell me, the one factor that they're waiting for to, really kick the market into gear. Do you have that one factor yourself?
Well, it's higher prices. I mean, higher prices drive the market. And, we saw a nice run up a few months ago. It's come back a little bit. But the price of producing a pound of uranium is below, or is higher than the current spot price. So the price has got to go up, and it's got to go up not just in the United States, Canada, Australia, around the world. So the true price of producing a pound of uranium, or the incentive price, isn't $50 or $60 anymore. It's north of $70 per pound in a sustainable way. So yeah, watch this space, but it looks like uranium's on the comeback, as is nuclear power, and our company also does rare earth elements, which also improves electrification.
Yeah, and let's make sure to talk about your company as well. So, we're talking about the pricing, and I know in the Q1 results, I think the company said for now you would continue to recover at reduced levels. So, and that all relates back to, what's going on in the market.
Yeah, we've our company in the last month has signed 3 uranium contracts with nuclear utilities in the United States, up to 4.2 million pounds over 8 years. So that is a really significant step. We have not signed contracts for over a decade, so that is really exciting for us. We plan to start up a mine this year, and we can scale that as the market dictates. We are also very advanced at moving forward with our rare earths. We think we have one of the best clean energy stories in the world, and we have a record of being doers, not talkers. And so we're really excited about the future for Energy Fuels.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the rare earths too, because that's another very interesting market. Some of your recent news is regarding signing agreements for a project in Brazil, I believe, and that to me sounds really significant because we know you can process rare earths, but I think this is your first project.
Yeah, we're out there trying to secure sources of monazite. And we will secure additional sources of monazite, but we figured one of the best ways is to own our own mine. Now, the project in Brazil, a very significant size, very scalable. We're still doing the due diligence. We haven't closed on that yet, but we're excited about it. We think it fits perfectly with what we're doing. And it's our goal as Energy Fuels to be full integrated rare earth producer, as well as the largest producer of uranium in the United States. So, when you make an investment in, typically, you'll invest in a uranium company or you'll invest in a rare earth company. When you invest in Energy Fuels, you get both. And that is unique to Energy Fuels. Nobody else in the world provides that optionality like we do.
And there's the vanadium component as well, I believe. So
yeah. We got a lot of different optionality, but we have the only conventional vanadium plant. We produced vanadium in 2019. It's also a critical element. We can go back into vanadium production very quickly when we decide we want to. So we are building a critical mineral hub of critical elements, including the rare earths, and looking at how we maximize the value of that to our shareholders. And at the same time, we're trying to utilize all those feed streams. So you've got the uranium, the vanadium, the rare earths, but we're also looking at moving into the radioisotopes, medical isotopes. So we plan to harvest the whole animal when we process at Energy Fuels. And again, that's unique. We believe the Chinese are doing the same thing. But outside of China, we believe it's unique because a lot of people are not able to capitalize on all the elements that are actually put into the plant because they cannot deal with the radioactivity, and we can.
And these are all commodities really where security of supply is becoming increasingly important, increasingly something that people are looking at. I know that governments are making plans to deal with that, but those things are kind of notoriously slow to have things actually happen. Do you think now with the war going on, COVID, or supply chain security, is that really something? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, again, it's highlighting the dependencies that we have, and so Energy Fuels is positioning itself so that it can basically cover off on a number of these elements that others either can't produce or are behind us. And we plan to be really largely one of the first movers. Now there's other people moving forward on all these fronts, but as far as covering as many of these elements that I'm talking about, we think we're taking the lead as a multi-commodity producer. Now, the governments have gotten into the fold here and are providing support. The good thing about what we're doing is we don't need government support to be competitive. We believe that we will be low quartile producer of rare earths, will be world scale for rare earths, and will be the largest producer of uranium in the United States as well. So, I know that's a mouthful, but that's what our focus is. Our focus is being world scale in what we do with significant margins as we grow our story and we secure more assets and capabilities.
Yeah, I think you've given us a great picture of the company. Are there any final words that you would leave the audience with?
No, I think the final words is, certainly the financial markets are in a bit of a turmoil. We're well capitalized. We got a very strong balance sheet. We've got zero debt. We got good liquidity. We're funded for our activities for the next few years without any trouble. We don't have to go back to the market for that. So just watch this space, because I think it. In my whole career, I've been in the mining business for over 45 years. This is the best story out there I've ever experienced in my career. Okay,
that's a very strong note to end on. Thank you very much for coming to talk today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Great. And once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Mark Chalmers with Energy Fuels.